Okay, so Pisces, wisdom, they seem crazy at first. Just like there's things going on subconsciously, which has to do with Pisces. There's things going on subconsciously with the dreams and the seeing things, but you know you're not seeing things clearly, but it feels real and it's physical. But there's things going on internally as well. That's like the subconscious and the dreams. It's telling you what's going to happen at the end, but you're not seeing it clearly in the moment. That's the Piscean energy trying to talk to um, Nina, right? And Pisces is the two fishes, right? So it understands the both sides, right? And so with Nina, she's embodying the Virgo energy, which is understand. I mean, Nina's embodying the Gemini energy, both swans, and that has to do with understanding. So she's trying, no matter how smart she is, and no matter how she's feeling things, and she knows, and everyone else is like discarding her and getting upset with her every time she tries to protect herself. She's trying to understand because no one is saying what they mean, right? They're just doing things around her and getting upset, and she's trying to accommodate everyone. And as soon as she's like clear and strong, it's like something messes that up. So there is something we can get into that in another video. We won't talk about it with this movie. But the Gemini energy, she's trying to understand what's going on with both sides in each person, right? She's trying to embody both within herself, but also outside of herself. She's seeing a teacher who's supposed to be nurturing, and he's coming off that way, or he's saying he's coming off that way, but he's not. And same with the mom, and same with Lily. Lily's not her friend. She's made that very obvious, right? But also, we're not sure because she seems confident and beautiful and kind, but she hit her with the okay when as soon as Nina set a boundary, and then it seemed like she kind of like set her up. It kind of seemed like it, but we're not sure. We don't know. And so Gemini has to do with understanding. And then the Virgo energy, Virgo is very smart. They're also mercurial, so that's being embodied by Lily, right? The Virgo energy. So so there's that mercurial energy. She kind of, whatever. Remember, I haven't slept all night. So anywho, Virgo, their word, like how they like each affirmation, we'll say, also can be associated with like each zodiac sign. So Virgo is I know, right? Like Cancer is I feel, like I feel this way, right? And then Aries is like I am, right? And then there's one that's like I do, I think, I feel, and Virgo is I know. I know. And Virgo is opposite Pisces, actually. But Virgo, they're so smart, and we all know everything. On a subconscious level, we all know everything, and Virgo is very confident in their intellect, for sure. So that's the way Lily showed up in the beginning, like soloist, great. Like she was very confident and very determined to be Swan Queen, but she never verbalized it. She was just like seeming like she didn't care, which is actually Gemini. And Virgo is like, I know. So Virgo isn't even trying to understand. They know, right? But I think that could be their downfall or something like that. Because Gemini is, even if Gemini knows something subconsciously, it's a twin. So it's sometimes like the twin is feeling some sort of way, but the other twin will not know until they react and they respond, and then they're like, whoa, I didn't know I was feeling like that. So like when we see Nina, and like when she was the first time she said no to her mom, she probably didn't even know she was feeling like that. You know, when she starts to pick at her skin at specific times, and her skin gets irritated at specific times after interactions with the same people. um you know, because it doesn't happen when she's dancing with like the random guy that is playing the prince. You know what I mean? It happens with her mom. It happens with certain people around. So Gemini's trying to understand. They're constantly learning, right? So there you go. And then if anything, there's some Sagittarius energy in there too. So now, that was a lot. So I think at this point, Nina is ruining all the paintings that the mom of had made of Nina. And I think Nina's starting to take more control of herself, because it's just like the mom is more focused on how she sees Nina and how she wants Nina to be. She's constantly drawing her, and it's almost like she doesn't care how the mom sees her anymore. She's ruining and she's tarnishing that image. And that's very self-empowering. And then the mom is trying to get into Nina's room, right? Maybe to change some things on the interior after Nina just ruined her paintings. Like, no. Like, Nina controls herself. And the mom is trying to get into her room, right? That's very symbolic. And then the mom is playing the victim, and she's saying that Nina's sick. But Nina's not obsessing over nobody. She's just trying to, like, live. And that she's been sick, right? And that the room is making her sick, right? But if water doesn't move, if emotions don't move for a long enough, the water becomes like unhealthy. I think it becomes like murky, and like things, like random things like bacteria start to grow. But the mom, we've only ever seen the mom in the house. Sure, she's in different rooms in the house, like the kitchen, the room, the bathroom, Nina's room. She's everywhere in that damn house. But we've never seen her leave the house. So subconsciously, I think that's what the mom was feeling. We don't even know if the mom has a job or if she works. Like, all we see is Nina for her. That's all we see. And so the mom trying to get into Nina's room and saying that Nina was sick, like almost like there's a lot of this mirroring energy and maybe projectile is that another form of vomiting? I don't know. But she's saying that the room is making her sick. So I think the mom kind of felt like her being in the house was making her sick. But she was saying that to Nina. But Nina was actually getting out of the house, getting in the house, having experiences, and growing as a person. And she was starting to experience more of herself, which was the dark twin, which isn't bad or good. You know, it just depends on the person and how they use that energy within themselves, but that's for them to control. So now the mom is saying, what happened to my sweet girl, right? And she goes, I'm the swan. Nina says, I'm the swan queen, right? Like, I am the sweet girl, and I'm the gangster. I'm the swan queen. I'm not just the princess. You know what I mean? And so then Nina goes to the play, and this is like the final scene. Now Nina's finally getting to be in the play, and we're getting to that part, okay? So now it's the final scene. It's the night of the show. And Lily almost didn't make it, but she stood up for herself, and she goes to the show. And Lily's upset, but she seemed like her friend. She seemed nurturing this whole time. And what did she do to get the role? Like, how did she get it? Just by being Tomas's friend? Tomas is his own friend. And yeah. So anywho, let me drink some coffee, I think. So yeah, Tomas his own friend, and who was sucking his dick? Not Veronica, because she didn't get the Swan Queen, and she was not the understudy. It was, maybe it was Lily. I don't know. She seemed a lot more comfortable with her sexuality and men and all that stuff. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but maybe that, you know. And so when Nina shows up, the that's the second time we see Lily upset. The first time was when she was told to mind her own business by Nina because she was trying to infiltrate, and it's like, get the fuck out of my room, and she was upset. And then she shows up at her house. Um, and so she Lily tells Nina, "You were supposed to be sick." When was she told this? And the mom was telling Nina before Nina left and stood up for herself that she was sick. They were telling her, they were trying to control her. You're sick. This room is making you sick. No, the room was making the mom sick. And she needed to stop obsessing over her daughter and maybe get back into ballet. Even if it wasn't so competitive and her being the one, she could have still gone into ballet as an adult and gone out of that damn house or something. And then now the only other negative feminine energy around Nina is also telling her you're supposed to be sick, when in actuality maybe it's Lily who's sick. Maybe. But we don't know. Maybe, you know. But she was telling her you're supposed to be sick, but there was like, who was saying that? Did the mom call in and saying she wasn't going to show up or something? Like, I don't know. We don't know. They didn't show that. Why is she saying that? But she didn't want Nina there. But she wanted Nina at the club. You know? And not having any structure and not showing up for herself. That's what she wanted. And then Tama was even like trying to have Lily's back. Why was he trying to have Lily's back? He doesn't care. So why did he care then? You know, so I feel like that was saying something. And then again, Nina stands up for herself. She said, well, after Tomas said that he had already told Lily, that soloist, that one person, she said, did you tell the crowd? Did you tell like the group of people? And then she says, I'm doing it, right? So then Tomas said, the only person standing in your way is you. So then Tomas says, when he told Nina, the only person standing in your way is you, it's time to let her go. You know, you don't let yourself go. The twins are within one person, and they hold on to each other and they protect each other. They don't let each other go for external validation. That is fickle. That is going to go away soon. But he said to let her go. So if the twin, I'll get back to that. So after he told her, like if he was nurturing her and being a coach, telling Nina to let a part of herself go, he doesn't mean like be in her emotions and express what's going on within during that play and let it out so that the water, the emotions move around and it's healthy. He just said to let a part of herself go. That's gonna destroy a part of herself. and she's literally fighting. So she's going here, here, there. Like things are happening so fast that in something can fall. A car can hit her and she could break both her legs, just like Beth. She was in this internally, like she was trying to hold on to things. She was trying to hold on to Tomas. She was trying to hold on to things, and we could see that with Beth early on in the movie. And what happened right after that emotional turmoil, she gets hit by a car. So what's going to happen with Lily, Nina, letting go with a part of herself and thinking that Tama is nurturing her, like I showed up for myself. At that point it was good. And then she thinks Tama is nurturing her, and she thinks that she got him finally, and that she's the Swan Queen. Well, she is, but she listened to him. He had already betrayed her in her mind, right? In her mind, she saw him and Lily sleeping together, right? Like I said, they probably wouldn't have done that in front of everyone because Tama seems to care about his reputation, but maybe subconsciously she was picking up on it. Or maybe it didn't happen, but in her mind, it already happened. He had already betrayed her, and physically, he had already discarded her multiple times. Now she's using her thorns, and she's like, "Did you announce it? I'm doing the play." Right? She's in control. Boom! In comes Tomas, telling her to let herself go. And when you let yourself go, what happens? You get big and fat. And when you're a lot of people, like I said earlier, when they gain a lot of weight, a lot of the times it's linked to trying to protect yourself because you feel like you're not protected. And he's telling her to let herself go, not care about herself anymore. Not because when you care about yourself, that gangster twin is going to come out and protect that innocent twin. But when that gangster twin came out, she's supposed to embody both. She's supposed to. That's her true love within herself, right? If she was the healthy mother and the healthy father, she would have kept that structure, and she would have loved herself the way a parent is supposed to love their child and nurtured their child, right? Same with the twins, the children. There's, the innocent one, and then there's the gangster one. And we see that with kids, right? Sometimes they're more crying and letting people walk all over them and sweet. And then there's kids who stand up for themselves and stand up for others. And then you can embody both. But a lot of the times when you embody both, and you embody both the mother and the father, people tend to get on you for that. Whether you're a child or an adult, a lot of the times there's children who adults like try to bully them. You know what I mean? Here in the movie, we're seeing it be played out with people who are all adults, but it happens with everyone. So now she's listening to Tomas. She finally got his approval, but he's not nurturing to her. And it doesn't mean he doesn't love her, but like I said, he's going through his own thing, and he's probably going through a lot, and he's trying to just satisfy himself. He's trying to satisfy himself with his ego, like, oh yeah, I'm a nurturing person. It makes him feel good about himself, but he's not. He's just trying to sleep with anyone, and discard people and seem like, oh, powerful. So yeah. And then after he tells Nina to let herself go, and she listens to him. Now, when she was feeling herself, like she was full, like she was both the light and the dark. And then he comes in real fast, and he's telling her to let herself go. Nina sees Lily flirting with the guy who plays the prince. So this is happening in front of her eyes, actually, I think. I don't think this is something she saw, like, made up, or she wasn't seeing clearly. But then, But then after that, I think she got distracted. She wasn't in her powerful self anymore. If she didn't let anything outside of her get to her when she got there, she still would have been in that powerful state. But first Lily was upset and it didn't get to her because she was seeing Lily clearly. She was seeing the mom clearly, so she was able to stand up for herself, right? She already got to the end of it with her mom, and she was like, no. And she stood on business. And so she made it in one way. She gets there. Lily is upset, but she's still standing on business. And she's like, well, did you announce it? Well, I'm going to do it. I don't care if she's upset because she's seeing Lily clearly now, but she's still not seeing Tomas clearly. So she knows Lily's intention when she's flirting with the guy who's playing the Swan King or the Swan Prince. But she doesn't know. She's still not seeing Tomas's intentions clearly either. I don't think she ever does. She dies before that. So she sees them flirting, and then she sees herself within like the crowd, I think the dancers, and then she falls because there was a distraction. But also there was hold on. This is so much. I'm gonna look something up real quick just so I can make sure. Okay, so at this point when she falls, there is a full moon behind her, right? There's a moon and it's a full moon. So now we're at the end of the movie, Pisces energy, we're at the completion. A full moon symbolizes completion. And I guess it means letting things go, right? So Tomas said for her to let herself go, but what she needed to let go of was Tomas. Just like she let go of Lily, just like she let go of her mom. They were all basically the same character, right? And sometimes it feels like when we're trying to heal ourselves and not run into the same energies, we tend to run into the same energies, right? Because you have to face it. You have to show up every day, just like Capricorn. And the people that, stay in the long run, manage to pass the test of time until they don't, I guess. So what she needed to let go of was not herself. It was outside of herself. But it was also something psychological, right? Like she needed to let go of the idea that someone else was going to save her. And she wanted to believe that. But she needed to save herself, no matter how lonely it seems. She couldn't keep going the way she was going, or else it was going to destroy her, I think, and it did. So there's a full moon in the background. I think that was symbolizing that Piscean energy and all that other stuff I just said. Now, at this point, Lily is not warm or inviting anymore because her tactics are not going to work on Nina anymore, right? Nina's seeing things clearly, right? Like, who knows how Tomas would have turned if Nina saw him clearly, because we saw some sides of him, but not really. We did not see the negative sides of Tomas like we did with the mom to that extent, and like we were starting to see with Lily, right? We still didn't see that with Tomas because she wasn't seeing him clearly, so he still had the mask, not what was underneath. We eventually saw Nina energetically take off the mom's and Lily's mask multiple times, but not Tomas. Because she also didn't have a father. Like, she really didn't know any better. But yeah, I'm sure she had that intuition, even though they didn't really show that. So now Lily is not being warm or inviting towards Nina. because her shit's not working anymore. And then so Nina kills Lily with the mirror shard, right? So, um, water, the reflection of the water is like seeing things clearly, right? But the reflection of the mirror is like you're not seeing things clearly. The way you look in the mirror is not the way everyone sees you, unless you have like one of those special true mirrors or something, which in every household, it's not most likely not going to come with that, right? So mirrors are usually associated with like not seeing yourself clearly, not seeing things the way they are. And she was killing Nina because she wasn't seeing things clearly. But it was Nina and Tama, right? If Tama was being the person that he wanted people to see him as, Nina wouldn't have even been upset probably, because she would have felt like she would have had nothing to worry about. But all these guys want a toxica. They want to keep these bitches trapped at any age. They're not trying to let nobody live. Just like these toxic mothers and these toxic friends everywhere you go, if that's your life and you experience that, comment down below. Because a lot of people who are wearing masks and even not even fully aware of it to the extent that it goes, fuck that. Period. Stay out the comments, actually, for those of you Lilies and fake mommies and Tomas out there. Like, fuck that. Ain't no good girls out here. There's no good girls, no sweet girls here. There's dualistic. So if you want a duel, then okay, you came to the right place. But anywho, so now she just killed Lily, saying it's my turn, right? But Nina still hasn't even finished the freaking play. You know what I mean? The whole time everyone's been saying it's my turn, but it's like, take your turn. You know, like, create your own play. There's so much that everyone could have their own turn for a good amount of time, right? They don't need Tama's approval. The fuck? So Nina's like, no, it's my turn. And she's standing on business. And then so she kills Lily with the shard, saying, no, it's my turn, right? And then she starts to embody fully the Black Swan. So first she was at one extreme with just the nice twin. Now she's at the other extreme, right, with the gangster twin. And sometimes gangsters are not seeing things clearly and they're moving too fast, and they can look for an adult, but there's a child on the street and they accidentally kill them who's innocent. So there's some symbology there. So now the person, after she goes on the complete other end and she's embodying the Black Swan, now the guy who's playing the Swan Prince, now it's like he's paying attention to Nina where he never really has before, and especially not in that way that we saw. So now he has the attention. Now Nina has the attention, and I'm sure it feels nice, right? She's still not seeing things clearly. She's moving too fast. And she's not realizing she lost a part of herself, her arms. And you know what I mean? So, yeah. And then Nina kisses Tama. So before, where Tama just kissed Nina without any hesitation or permission, she kissed Tama same way, without any hesitation, without any permission. And I don't care who you are, if you're gonna kiss someone, let them know, right? But we can be innocent and let ourselves go a little bit, but be responsible. Like, let's be responsible. It's not boring. I promise you, it's not. And people will respect you more, and they'll remember something like that. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you were communicating with your eyes first, or you communicated verbally. Like, you know, I think I kind of want to kiss you. And then you let them get closer, and then you're enticing. The way Tama was telling her he wanted her to be, but she was still moving too fast instead of moving slow, like when she was in the tub with the duck in the water, and seeing things clearly. She wasn't seeing herself clearly because she was still looking outside of herself, and people outside of herself weren't portraying themselves clearly, so they were not a good example. Which Nina wasn't wrong or right or good or bad, but I think in the end it doesn't work. Because Nina was, her goal was to be the Swan Queen and probably be there for a good amount of years. But she ended up killing herself, like, as soon as she got it, or before she even finished her first show. But Tamal liked it. She was destroying herself. And she was still seeing him with the mask on, which is what he wanted. And then, so now, after that kiss, we see Nina going downstairs as the Swan Queen, and we see all the white swans going upstairs. And they're going in opposite directions now. So now she's going in a complete opposite direction than she was before. And so now she's going downstairs. Now she's going more into the subconscious. Still not seeing things clearly. And then she sees Lily down there, not with the group. And she's wearing white, where she was always wearing black. Since the very beginning, since the middle, she was always wearing black. Now we see her, now that Nina lost a part of herself willingly, she controls herself, and she listened to someone outside of herself, which who knows if she would have made that decision, but she was moving so fast, and she got the approval finally, that she just was like, thank you, and gone. And now that she killed a part of herself, a piece of herself, Lily finally got what she wanted. She's wearing all white. She didn't want to be the Swan Queen. She never said she wanted to be the Swan Queen. She wanted to go back into her childhood and be in her innocence, which was within her the whole time. Because Virgo symbolizes the virgin, but like I said in the beginning, they also do good in the sex industry. So sometimes Virgos can get into the sex industry, like that energy. And sometimes when people go through sexual abuse or like heavy, dark sexual things, and you see, like maybe as a stripper, like guys cheating on their wives, and then you don't trust men anymore, like, and then they have their own way of not seeing things clearly. And then Virgo goes from the virgin, the sweet servant person, to, because they thought they knew everything. Virgo thinks they know everything, and they do. But then they get into adulthood, and maybe they get into that energy gets into like the sex working stuff, and it distorts, and then they feel like, oh, I've gone too far, I can't be my innocent self anymore. But Gemini knows that they are more likely to embody like both twins, and they can get into any industry and still not lose themselves if they are nurturing both twins and expressing both twins and letting each twin be there for one another. Because even the sweet, kind one is going to be there for the gangster, trust me. So we see that Lily finally got what she wanted, which was she was embodying the innocent virgin, because she was wearing white. And now Nina was in all black. But yeah. So now Lily's being warm to Nina again because she finally got what she wanted, right? Every character, like Tama and the mom and Lily, when they finally got what they wanted, they go back to being like warm towards Nina. And then when they don't get what they want, they're upset with Nina. So obviously, right? And then so after that scene, Nina realizes that the shard that she used to kill Lily was actually inside of her. And then the Swan Queen is bleeding out, and the mom is in the crowd and she's crying. Most likely because um, Nina gave her power away to Lily, which the mom was working for so much. She was working every day for that energy that Nina killed but gave away. The mom was working so hard for that energy to go to her. But she was in the crowd and she was crying because she saw that Nina was all dark, all black, and that energy did not go to her. Because when she slept with Lily, she said, "You're not my Nina anymore." The plan was still going accordingly, but it was going to be rewarded. It was going to go to Lily because Lily was very like showing up every day like Capricorn, right? But in a distorted way, like Tama. He got what he wanted. But yeah. And so the mom was in the crowd crying, but she knew what was going on, I think. And then Nina falls, and then Nina finishes, and she embodies the black swan, and we think it's beautiful, and Tomas thinks it's beautiful, and she felt perfect, right? Because that's what they wanted, or that's what she wanted, I don't know. And then Tomas said that they love you, the crowd loves you. He's still telling her like to look outside of herself, so he's still not nurturing her as she's on the floor bleeding out. And she just listened to him to let herself go. And she's still listening to him, and he's saying the crowd loves you, the people outside of yourself. And then Nina says that she finally felt perfect. But what Nina failed to realize is that she's been perfect. And the people outside of her, they could see that. Just be yourself. Don't try to be the Swan Queen. You are the Swan Queen. No one can take your crown. You are the crown, right? No one can people could take your brain out of you, but no one can take your mind. Right? Your home, your heart, your throne, like your internal safe spot that you can rest on. That is your throne. So how people were trying to sit on her throne, no one could actually do that. So she should have relaxed. Like if you have a man in your life or a woman in your life and you can't trust them, you're a lot more relaxed as a person. But if they're playing mental games, not showing you their phone, then you can't trust them. And then one day you may see something and it's going to get you in an emotional state, and you may even know. So don't keep adding things into the mix. Like figure out what's going on internally, and you're going to realize that you had everything within you all along, just like Ella Enchanted. And don't give up. You know what I mean? You're going to run into a lot of people who are going to be trying to step into your light, steal your light, mimic your light, mock your light. And it's going to be irritating and it's going to be annoying. But, you know, as long as you stand in your light, you know, you do have to pay a lot of attention to yourself. You have to be narcissistic in a way because you have to pay attention to yourself as much as everyone else is paying attention to you. They're paying attention to your every move, every time you get out of character, emotions, even for a second. They are waiting. There's always someone watching and waiting, right? So you have to pay attention to you as much as other people pay attention to you in order for you to be good. Yeah. Like I said, 3 hours, baby. 3 hours. Okay, I hope you guys liked this video. In these past 7 years, I've been working on art. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but one of the ways that I was dealing with emotions was creating art. So I'm gonna be bringing that out little by little. And the first piece that I have is very positive, but not all my pieces are like that. But this one's very positive. It's called Head in the Clouds because my head is in the clouds. And yeah, it's a crew neck. I've been really big into crew necks lately. I'm big on that vibe. I'll explain later why, but that's what I've been drawn to lately. And so it's a crew neck. I think it looks good on it, and it's the first piece I have out, and I've been working on this since all yeah, since all this started, like 2016. Um, yeah. And so if you want to donate and if you like the sweater, that's gonna be down below. But I think I'm gonna maybe make like a cash app or something. So if you just want to donate, then you can do that too. Like just like maybe like another way of like appreciation, gratitude, support. So yeah. Ah, this is so much. I'm gonna have to rewatch all this and then edit it and put it out.